on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, a property of Learfield Sports.
Touchdown, Alabama!
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Hey Coach is brought to you by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. And by Coke Zero, real Coke taste, 0 calories. Here is your host, Tom Roberts.
Good evening, everybody, and roll Tide. Glad to have you with us on this Thursday evening, 2 days away from the home opener, a breakfast kickoff on Saturday morning, 11 o'clock against Florida Atlantic. Coach Nick Saban's going to join us at about 7 o'clock tonight. Talk about that game as well as the opening win over West Virginia. And our congratulations to Tide kicker Adam Griffith, the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week, and he was also one of 3 National Stars of the Week as selected by the Lou Grossa Award. Yeah, Adam deserves the applause. Had a great game against West Virginia. Alabama soccer back at home and ready to take on number 3 Virginia tomorrow night. Jacksonville State on Sunday night. We'll hook up with Coach Todd Bramble on the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline. Bama volleyball, undefeated. 4-0 in the Marshall Hamilton Classic up in St. Louis. Crystal Rivers, the most valuable player in that tournament. She's a part of our Cooper Tire Performance of the Week coming up in just a few minutes. Crimson Rewards ready to kick off a brand new season. David DeSantis from Tuscaloosa Toyota is here. We'll talk with him about what's going on with Crimson Rewards this year. And we'll take your questions. If you're sitting there at home, our phone number 877-202-BAMA. If you're here at Bob's Victory Grill, well, Jessica Weiger will be right here at the corner of the bar, very close to where we are here on the stage. And we've got an Aaron's stuffed lucky dog, live sports radio, a T-shirt, and a $50 gift certificate from University Mall. So a lot to do over the course of the next 90 minutes, including the kickoff of the NFL season. Green Bay Packers against the Seattle Seahawks, and got 3 Bama players in that game. Clinton Dix and Eddie Lacy for the Packers, James Carpenter for the Seahawks. So we're going to start by talking Alabama soccer with Todd Bramble. That's coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Bud Light and NFL fans, this is the tale of Wayne Tupperhill, the man who spent the '97 season calculating the perfect Bud Light to ice to cooler size ratio, who once knocked over a priceless marble bust to save a falling Bud Light. But there are many legends like Wayne, and Bud Light's rewarding them with experiences like an ultimate NFL weekend. Bud Light, the perfect beer for whatever happens.
Ultimate NFL experience open to U.S. residents 21 plus. No purchase necessary. Ends 12/31/14. See upforwhatever.com for details. Void where prohibited. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, Alabama fans. Academy Sports and Outdoors is the place to go when you need the gear to support your team. Academy is your one-stop shop for Crimson Tide jerseys, t-shirts, caps, novelty items, and more at everyday low prices. Be sure to visit your local Academy store or academy.com to stock up on Crimson Tide gear for the season. Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The right stuff, the low price, every day. Academy.
On game day, whether it's on the field or at the tailgate, the best rise to the top. Because when the Crimson Tide are driving to victory, there's no compromise. That's why Ford delivers available EcoBoost engine technology that offers a winning combination of power and efficiency. Just another reason why Ford is America's best-selling brand. Check out F-150, Fusion, Escape, and the all-new Expedition at your local Ford dealer. America's best-selling brand based on 2013 calendar year sales.
Do game day right. With LG, it's all possible. LG home appliances are right in step with your busy world. The largest capacity washer in its class saves you up to 20 minutes per load, even on larger loads. LG's door-and-door refrigerators offer instant access to gotta-have snacks. And with LG Easy Clean, you've got a sparkling oven in minutes. Come check out the latest in LG innovations at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG.
Hey, Tide fans, when you're getting ready for this week's game, stock up on Golden Flake. Pick up your favorite bag of Golden Flake potato chips, Tostados, or cheese puffs, and you'll be ready to tailgate like a true Tide fan. Golden Flake, the favorite chip of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The best choice you can make is a big bag of Golden Flake.
Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa. Let's talk Alabama soccer. Crimson Tide went on the road last weekend and got a win and a tie. Bama went to Austin Peay first and shut out the Governors 5-0. In fact, held them without a shot on goal the entire night. And then on Sunday evening, Tide went on to Middle Tennessee and tied the Blue Raiders 2-2. It was a pretty good weekend for several Bama players, including Laura Lee Smith, who had her third goal of the season, and Teresa Diedrich, a goal and an assist in that game against Middle Tennessee. The Tide now on the road again, or at least the coach is tonight. Todd Bramble on the road recruiting prior to a big home weekend. And we're trying to catch up right now with Todd Bramble on the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline. Bama is set to play. If I can keep my voice going here, Bama is set to play the number 3 team in the country, the Virginia Cavaliers, tomorrow night at the Bama Soccer Stadium. Cavaliers are very, very good. They have not given up a goal all season long. In fact, have allowed only 5 shots on goal in the 3 matches they've won. So it's number 3 Virginia against the Crimson Tide tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Then on Sunday evening at 7, Jacksonville State comes to town, and the Gamecocks come in off a 15-0 victory over Mississippi Valley State. So it could be a very interesting weekend for the Crimson Tide soccer program. And, of course, the matches are free of charge. Just go to the Bama Soccer Stadium and enjoy some good soccer action. As we said, Bama taking on number 3 Virginia tomorrow night at 7, and Jacksonville State Sunday at 7 o'clock at the Bama Soccer Stadium. All right, Bama soccer on the road, so is Bama soccer at home this weekend. Alabama volleyball on the road. We'll update you on Ed Allen's team in just a few moments. But coming up next, we're going to talk with David DeSantis of Tuscaloosa Toyota about the Crimson Rewards program. So stay with us. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6, I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6, I make his breakfast. At 7, I shower. Every day I wake up
For those caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda. That's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Psst, it's me, your heart. High blood pressure is serious, and if you think I'm just gonna keep ticking away, you're wrong. I can quit whenever I want, but I like my job. Just treat me better. Maybe we can do some exercise on occasion? After all, we're in this together.
Don't let your heart quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
This year, firefighters will battle thousands of wildfires around the country in hopes of containing them. But a single ember that escapes can travel more than 1 mile, where it can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Prepare, protect, prevail. Get fire adapted. Learn simple steps you could take now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
Welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill here at Midtown in Tuscaloosa. They're applauding because I didn't choke coming out of this segment. Thank you. And welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. There are so many wonderful things that are going on at the University of Alabama, but something that's been very, very good for several years now, the Crimson Rewards program. And the man on the stage with me right now knows all about that. He's David DeSantis of Tuscaloosa Toyota. How you doing?
I am so good. You know, we look forward to this time of the year every year to give stuff away.
Well, first of all, it's the culmination of last year's Crimson Rewards program, right?
That's exactly right. We reward the people that participated last year.
And you're going to do that at the Florida game?
Florida game, we give away a Toyota Corolla. Somebody wins that. Right now we have 10 finalists left. We will draw 6 more names and eliminate 6 people Monday.
Yeah.
And then we will invite those last 4 people to be our guest at the game. Halftime, somebody wins.
Somebody's going to ride away in a Toyota Corolla. And this, to me, is great because those 4 people that will be the finalists have been to a bunch of Alabama athletic events, haven't they?
That's exactly right. And the way it's shaken out, it's the draw, Tom. But whenever you look at it and you see the points these folks have, these are the people that supported all the events.
Well, and that to me is one of the keys behind the whole Crimson Rewards program.
Right.
If you go to a game, and it makes no difference what game, it can be football, it can be volleyball, softball, soccer, gymnastics, whatever, right, you get points.
That's exactly right. And I got to tell you, there's another little twist. I can't tell you all of it because I don't have it all memorized, but Brad Ledford and his team, they have done a lot of work on this program this year. And you need to go to crimsonrewards.com.
Right.
But you can earn points through social media this year. They've expanded the whole program. You can shop in the store with your points. There's all kind of prizes, but the car will still be there. Vehicle will still be there. This year, we will give away a vehicle.
You're taking a step up.
Yeah, we're going to give away a vehicle that you might be a little familiar with.
That's right.
We're going to give away a RAV4.
I've been driving one for 2 years now, and I love it.
Yep.
Every day from Birmingham to Tuscaloosa and back, but that's the trip
Right.
you make every day, too.
That's right. When will we have to stop paying you to drive that?
I didn't get the check last month,
You didn't
at
get-
any rate.
You didn't get it?
Let's talk about what else is going to go on as far as Crimson Rewards this year.
Well, there's Crimson Rewards. You got a lot of social media. You can get points, but to take another step, TuscaloosaToyota.com, we have a lot of contest prizes going on. New thing that we added this year, we just picked the first winner. This is called Guest Coach. So
Nice,
we'll have
yeah.
an on-field experience for 2 people, field suite tickets.
Nice.
The response has been nice. Just go to TuscaloosaToyota.com to register for that. And then we've done trivia with you for years.
Yes.
Give away all kind of Alabama memorabilia there.
And those trivia questions are not the toughest in the world, so everybody's got a shot.
Yeah, we want everybody to qualify, and then we just pick a name.
Well, all right. You have one other thing that David brought a steno pad full of notes, as he usually does.
I thought this would take us at least 30 minutes, and we're running right through this.
All right. Tell me about this, the guest coach contest, because to me that's a neat new thing.
I really think this is fun. The gentleman that won that we picked this for this first home game came by yesterday, picked up all his stuff. But on field during warm-ups, coaches' apparel, shirts.
Yeah.
Like I said, 2 field suite tickets. We'll have some photo ops, and I think Jumbotron, maybe recognition. And, we got Jim Carabin working on seeing if Coach Saban will let him call a couple of plays, but I don't know about that one, right?
I wouldn't put
Probably
money
not
on that one,
happening.
no.
Yeah.
No.
But it'll be fun.
That's right.
Yeah.
And all of this, you go to TuscaloosaToyota.com. It's
That's
that
right.
simple, right?
And we're going to do that for every home game this year.
You know, you've been an avid supporter of Crimson Tide Athletics. You're involved in everything. But I don't think it required having knee surgery. And you did this summer, didn't you?
I just did that 3 weeks ago.
So
I
you're
had to
going
get it
through
out
the
of way.
rehab process now?
I'm pretty good. I think I can swing a golf club in a couple of weeks. Hey, one thing I need to tell you real quick before we go, though. Coach Curry and I have been working on some things, and we're gonna do a lot of big things with women's basketball
Wonderful.
this year, and it's gonna be fun. And hopefully Jim will let us come back on later this season when we announce what we're gonna do. It is gonna be an awesome deal. We're going to have a lot of fun over in Foster's and support that program too, because she's
done
fantastic.
an outstanding job.
Yes.
And another lady who did an outstanding job for 30-something years, Sarah Patterson, retired this summer. And I know you and I both hate to see her leave the gymnastics program, but it's great to have Dana Duckworth take over.
That's exactly right, and we're as excited as we were, not to take anything away from Sarah and David, but we know Brian and Dana will do an excellent job, and
there's no doubt.
We're excited for that season coming up. We just saw the schedule the other day.
It'll be here before you know it.
Exactly.
Well, David, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
And RAV4.
RAV4 next year, we'll give it away about this time. So
Sounds
go to
good.
all the events. You know, after January, you can
I'm
win.
eligible.
You can win.
I like it.
There you go. Thanks a lot, Tom.
Thank you. David DeSantis, who does a great job supporting University of Alabama athletics. Hey, if you're a guy, you got enough to think about, like Alabama football. When you finally notice you need a haircut, you need it right now. So come on in, because at Sport Clips, you never need an appointment. Visit any of our Alabama area stores and ask for our MVP service. Sport Clips, it's good to be a guy. We're going to talk about volleyball and some other things going on at the University of Alabama next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Think it's only a game? You win some, lose some, just give the old college try. Not around here. Because in Tuscaloosa, winning on the field and the work site isn't everything. It's the only thing. Alabama and the 2014 Ford F-150. This team, this truck will make a believer out of you. For great offers on a new F-150, go to shopfordnow.com or see your local Ford dealer today.
You're listening to Guy Talk, live from the Sport Clips Haircuts locker room. Caller, you're on the air.
My girlfriend beat me playing one-on-one.
Ooh, sounds like you need to hit up a Sport Clips for an awesome haircut experience and some quality man time.
I don't know. My girlfriend always takes me to her salon.
Nonsense. Be your own man and get a great haircut in a guy-friendly place from stylists who know what guys need.
You may be right.
Sure, I'm right. Now grab your Y chromosome, get down to Sport Clips, and ask for the MVP. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama is the authorized dealer for Toyota forklifts, the world's #1 forklift manufacturer right here in the USA. Toyota Materials Handling has short and long-term rentals available ranging from 3 to 36,000 pounds, and they provide parts and service for any model forklift. Ask Toyota Materials Handling about their no hidden fees guarantee and service loaner program. Call Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama today and speak with their consultants. Call toll-free 866-957-2250 or go online to toyotamaterials.com.
The tide will be rolling soon, but if you haven't gotten your Bama Banking Visa check card, you're not really ready for kickoff. Bama Banking, exclusively from BBVA Compass, is the perfect way to show your pride in the Tide. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama. Bama builds champions. At BBVA Compass, you can be a champion too by sporting one of our limited edition Bama Banking check cards. Sign up for Bama Banking and show your pride every time you use your check card. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama.
Looking for the ultimate tire for your performance luxury touring vehicle? Look no further than the new Ventus S1 Noble 2 from Hankook Tire. Packed with the latest design and compounding elements focused on maximizing efficient water evacuation, providing impressive wet handling and braking, increasing cornering grip, and improving winter condition traction. The Ventus S1 Noble 2 is the ideal balance of all season and ultra high performance. To see more of the Ventus S1 Noble 2, visit A&A Sales in Huntsville. Be one with it. Hankook Tires.
Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa. Let's talk Alabama volleyball. Crimson Tide got off to a great start over the weekend, 4-0 in the championship of the Marcia Hamilton Classic at the University of St. Louis. And that sets the stage for our Cooper Tire Performance of the Week, presented by Cooper Tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Visit coopertire.com to find your local Cooper Tires dealer. 3 members of the Crimson Tide qualify for the Cooper Tire Performance of the Week. One who wins it this week is Crystal Rivers, preseason All-SEC star and All-American. Well, she was the most valuable player in the tournament up at St. Louis. 13 aces, 61 kills, just an incredible weekend for Crystal, a continuation of her freshman season for the university. Also on the All-Tournament team, Sierra Wilson, who's Bama's primary setter, and an incredible freshman, Kat Hudson. She slammed 45 kills with 4 aces in the 4 matches at the St. Louis tournament. So our congratulations to Ed Allen and his team. The Tide now is on the road again in Charlottesville, Virginia at the Cavalier Classic hosted by the University of Virginia. Tide will play Navy tomorrow, then matches on Saturday against LIU Brooklyn and the University of Virginia. Time to take a look at Crimson Tide Tailgate Trivia, brought to you by Red Baron Pizza. Visit tailgateatyourplace.com for great game day ideas and enter for a chance to win $150,000 in prizes. It's honorary captains we want to talk about tonight. Each game this year will be honoring a couple of captains from the past, and on Saturday, 2 great ones from the 2009 National Championship team, Eric Anders and Corey Reamer. Eric, of course, led the team in total tackles for losses with 20.5. That included 6 sacks. His sack and cause fumble in the 4th quarter of that 37-21 National Championship victory over the University of Texas clinched the Crimson Tide's first title under Nick Saban. Eric now lives in Huntsville. The other honorary captain, Corey Reamer, a 2-year starter, selected by the coaching staff as the Defensive Player of the Week 4 different times during the Tide's March 2 of the 2009 National Championship. One of his better games against the University of Tennessee. Critical plays in Bama's SEC win there. He also was an academic All-SEC recognition 3 times during his career. Native of Hoover, Corey still lives in the Birmingham area. Corey and Eric will be joining us it's in the Mercedes-Benz fan area. That's at the corner of Wallace Way Drive and University Boulevard out in front of the stadium. We'll be there for our radio show starting at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. Captains will be there at 8:30 to sign autographs, and of course they'll be honored in pregame ceremonies. Eric Anders and Corey Reamer, 2 outstanding players. That's a look at Crimson Tide Tailgate Trivia, brought to you by Red Baron Pizza. Better crust, better pizza. Well, we're waiting on Coach Nick Saban. He should be here in just under 10 minutes from now, fresh off the practice field. Our media guest this week is Chris Lowe from ESPN. We're going to talk to him coming up next. But first, a quick word. Be the hero of your tailgate this season. Go to eatatjacks.com to place your order for the ultimate fan fuel. Get your team ready for the big game with Jack's delicious hand-breaded chicken fingers, fried chicken, sides, biscuits, and more. Jack's now a proud partner of the Crimson Tide. And this is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Hey, Alabama fans, make every day feel like game day with the University of Alabama Visa check card from Regions. Regions helps you move life forward with checking account features like online banking with bill pay, mobile banking with Regions Mobile Deposit, and cashback rewards. Regions is a proud sponsor of your Alabama Crimson Tide and is the official bank of the SEC. Visit regions.com/GoBama for more information or go to any Regions bank to order your University of Alabama check card today. Regions, member FDIC. Terms, conditions, and fees may apply.
Ready for this week's game? We're talking the rumbling roar of Big Al and another epic Roll Tide. But we're also talking great pizza. As a Crimson Tide sponsor, Red Baron Pizza is kicking off your game day at tailgateatyourplace.com with party ideas, recipes, school trivia, plus a chance to win over $150,000 in prizes. Buy yours at Bilo. Bilo has great deals every day on Red Baron Pizza.
Make University Mall part of your football game plan. Avoid the campus traffic. Park with us on game day. Take the Tuscaloosa Chartered Tide Ride straight to Bryant-Denny and back for just $10. Now, while you're here, enjoy great shopping, dining, and the area's best selection of Bama fan gear, all under one roof. We're West Alabama's in-place to shop for over 30 years. That's University Mall.
Once in a while, a player comes along and completely changes the game.
Unbelievable catch!
It's no different when it comes to a car. A car that doesn't just change the game, but dominates it. The unrivaled Toyota Camry.
Now get 0% APR for 60 months on a new 2014.5 Toyota Camry.
Toyota, let's go places. Offer valid September 3rd through September 30th, 2014. Zero down with approved credit. Monthly payment for every 1,000 finance is $16.67. Includes tax, tag, registration, title, and dealer fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. A couple of game day issues from John Bachnick at the Bruno event team. Really not that much different this year as far as what's happening on campus, but there will be road work on I-2059 and road work on I-359, so you might want to come a little earlier. Well, I don't know that you want to come any earlier for an 11 o'clock game, but maybe you should to avoid the traffic problems. On-campus parking and tailgating very similar to last year, and there is a new and improved web-based system for purchasing parking passes online. Visit uagameday.com to purchase those passes. I'm joined on the stage right now with one of our favorite media guests, despite his Tennessee background, Chris Lowe, joining us from ESPN.com. How you doing?
Tom, I'm great. Well, I got to go to school somewhere, right?
Well, that's exactly right. You got to. You and I were sitting here talking during the break. You didn't see our game last Saturday, but you saw one of the biggest surprises of the year so far.
Yep. I was in Columbia for the A&M South Carolina game, and I guess I was one of those who was guilty of thinking what maybe that A&M would just couldn't possibly be as explosive as they were offensively. Losing, not only Manziel, but they lose Mike Evans, a terrific receiver. They lose their left tackle, Jake Matthews, who was a top 10 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And they put up 52 on the road against South Carolina. I tell you what it tells me, Tom, is the West Division this year, and it's always, it's the toughest division in football, but this year I think it's going to be even more difficult to get out of the West than it's ever been. Because you show me a weak team.
Oh, no, there's not
in the
one.
West.
Especially if you look at the opening week of the season, heck, everybody won.
Yeah. Even Arkansas, you go back and watch the first half of that football game. That's a 21-21 game. They're moving the ball. I think the weather delay sort of hampered them. They were not able to finish the game. But I'll tell you what, with A&M putting up the points they did and the Hill kid playing like he did in his first career start on the road, it's going to be a lot. I mean, I guess fun is a relative term.
Yes.
But it's going to be a fun year to watch that race play out because it's going to be a tough one.
I'm not sure that the guy who's sitting next to you in a few minutes from now will think it's much fun because it just makes it that much tougher in the toughest league in America.
And he knows it. I mean, Nick understands what playing in the West Division is all about. So you better be ready to play every week.
All right, one other question. We're going to take care of a little business before the coach gets here. I see on this sheet of paper your favorite Bama player of all time is one of my all-time favorites, too. A guy named Major Ogilvy.
Major Ogilvy. And that, you know what that does more than anything, Tom, is it shows how old I am.
I started to say it dates both of us, yes.
I mean, and probably a lot of people here, I know some do, but I vividly remember Major back when they ran the wishbone and him getting the football. It was a lot of fun to watch him play. Always playing on that, playing on the turf over in Legion Field. Imagine what it felt like when you skid your elbow.
Can you imagine?
But he was a great football player, and it was, to me, growing up, was sort of the epitome of what an Alabama running back was back in the day.
Exactly right. Well, back in the spring, he and our Eli Gold both inducted into the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. All right, stand by for a moment or so. Our first phone caller tonight, we kind of know who it might be from down in South Alabama, but it's the Alabama 811 call. Be safe. Always call 811 before you dig. It's free. It's the law. Utility companies that come out to locate and mark the buried lines, call 811. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Bama fans, download the official Alabama Game Day app and get every digital football game day program free of charge. It's easy. Just search for Alabama Game Day from your app store and update for each game. Download now the official Alabama Game Day app presented by Adobe DPS, your best way to mobilize the Tide. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
I'm in the car next to you on the highway. I sit in front of you on the bus. I'm one out of every 6 Americans, and I'm struggling with hunger. This isn't an uncontrollable epidemic. There's enough food in this country to feed every hungry person. Please, visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for those around you, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, parents of children with asthma, here's another hit from the Breathe Easies.
Come on
and clean up the mold. Whoa. Clean up the mold. Whoa. Mold can trigger asthma in kids young and old. Come on and clean up the mold. Whoa. Clean up the mold in your house. Whoa.
This song may be fun, but childhood asthma is not. Preventing asthma attacks can be as simple as cleaning up the mold and mildew in your house. For more Breathe Easy tips to help stop asthma attacks, go to noattacks.org. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. Find out how at heart.org/bloodpressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is the Nick Saban Show. Presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Also brought to you by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays. Built Ford tough. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. And by Coke Zero. Real Coke taste, 0 calories. Now, with Coach Nick Saban, here's Tom Roberts.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill. You can probably hear some applause in the background. That means the head coach of the Crimson Tide is with us. Nick Saban making his way to the stage. Chris Lowe, our media guest for the week from ESPN.com. Crimson Tide coming off a 33-23 win over West Virginia. And Nick Saban joining us here on stage. Coach, after the game on Saturday, you looked at me and said, that's just what I expected. And it was. You said last week it was going to be a tough game, and indeed it was.
Well, it sure was. And, you know, I obviously had a little more respect for West Virginia than a lot of other folks did in terms of their quarterback, their skill players on offense, their ability to score points offensively, and, you know, knowing that we had our signal caller out on defense, that it was going to be a new experience for 2 inside linebackers, and that created a little bit of anxiety for us on defense. We made a lot of mental errors, especially in the first half, but I was really, really pleased and happy with the way we played offensively in the game. You know, Blake Sims did a great job for his first start. Lane Kiffin did a fantastic job of managing the game for him so that he could play, you know, well in the game. And, you know, I think our offensive players really hung in there when in the second quarter we lost our poise a little bit and started to go no huddle, and Blake settled down. So, but it was the kind of game I expected it to be.
Chris Lowe is sitting here between us. And, Chris, you get the first question for the coach.
Well, you mentioned Trey DePriest. What does he bring now to get him back to your defense, Nick? How important is that? And I know a lot of people, when you look at him, he's your quarterback on defense, makes your checks, et cetera. But just getting him back there on the field, how beneficial is that for you guys?
Well, I think it's huge, you know, for us because of his experience and his knowledge in the system. You know, we've always had, whether it was Rolando McClain, Dante Hightower, you know, C.J. Mosley last year, we've always had a guy that is an experienced guy that allows us to do the multiples of things that we do on defense, call them correctly, and, you know, creates a comfort zone and a confidence with all the other players because you know he's going to call it right. All right. And that's what happened in the game. You know, these guys call it wrong, and then everybody starts looking over their shoulder, and the secondary is not coordinated with the front. Somebody doesn't get covered. I mean, there's a lot of issues that come when you don't play team defense, and if you don't communicate with an expectation of this is the way it's supposed to be, then everybody starts getting a little bit frazzled, and that happened to us a little bit, and I think that's the stability that Trey DePriest can give us. But now Trey has been in and out of practice, injured, suspended for a game, so he probably has a ways to go to work himself back into playing shape and be the kind of player that he can be.
Well, the first question from the Nick Saban Show blog at AL.com was related to Trey DePriest. Clint in Atmore, I'm going to kind of paraphrase his question. Is a guy like Trey a really good communicator? Is that more important when you're playing against a hurry-up team like West Virginia?
Well, there's no question. But I think every team we play is going to be hurry-up. Yeah. It's going to be that way this week. It's going to be that way every week. I don't know when we play a team that gets in the huddle. I haven't looked that far down the road. But I think it becomes a huge factor when you're playing against a no-huddle team because, we used to tell every player on defense what they were supposed to do based on the formations. Example, we used to call Okie short. That was the front. All right, then we would call triple, which means 2 by 2, we're going to play one coverage, 3 by 1, we're going to play another coverage, and slot trips, we're going to play another coverage. So we'd call Okie short, triple, 88, that was the 2 by 2 cons. 6 was 3 by 1. Bronco was what we're going to play on Trey. Now we call that Buckeye. That's how the players learn it. They learn the whole thing, the whole sentence, one word.
Well, you have to.
Because that's all you can say.
Yeah.
All right, after you single one word, everybody says it's Buckeye. You got to look at the formation, know what you're going to play. Now, that's one call. You got 50.
Goodness. That
are one word. And everybody on the defensive field has to know the signal. If you don't know the signal for all those plays, it used to be just a signal caller. Give the signal. When I was a defensive coordinator, Pepper Johnson, this was under, double, 2, 3. It's the only guy that knew the signal. Nobody else had to know the signal. Then in 2 minutes, we had 5 calls. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Everybody knew those. That was it.
Yeah.
Now everybody's got to know every call you got. Short yardage, goal line, everything. By one signal, hurry up and play it and get lined up.
50. Amazing.
That's just a guess.
All right. You know who the Alabama 811 first caller is. Pee Wee from Grand Bay joins us. Pee Wee, roll tide. How you doing?
Doing fine, Tom. Coach Saban, how are you, sir?
What's up, Pee Wee? How you doing, buddy?
I'm
Offensive
doing very
line played
well.
all right, so you ought to be all right with all that.
Well, yeah, actually I wanted to talk a little bit about the offensive line tonight. Last week in the opener against West Virginia, and I thought for the most part that they played pretty well. There was a few missed blocks and perhaps a missed assignment or two that, might be expected for the first game of the season. But I also thought that Cameron Robinson played very well with this being his first start. But we did have the 3 consecutive penalties in the second half, the 2 holding and the 1 false start that put us in a 1st and long. But after watching the film and breaking it down, how would you describe their play and how did they respond this week after making the adjustments? And will there be any kind of changes along the offensive line this week?
No, we're just trying to develop the guys that we have and get them to continue to improve. Leon had a couple penalties in the game, which were critical because the way we wanted to play in that game on offense, it was, a point of emphasis that we can't get behind in the sticks. We don't need to be holding penalties on 1st down and make it 1st and 20. And twice in the second half, we did that right off the bat, which put us behind the 8 ball, which that's not how we wanted to play the game. So we need to eliminate those kinds of things. But, there's a lot of things that we can improve on. I was not at all disappointed in the way the offensive line played. I think we actually played a little better than I thought that we might. And I was really pleased with the way we controlled the line of scrimmage. But there are definitely things that we can improve on and do much, much better. Now, the challenge this week and Pee Wee's like our extra offensive line coach. I mean, that's all he ever talks about. All right, the challenge this week, Pee Wee, is we're going from 3-4, all right, which is odd defense, odd rules, odd blocking rules, and all that, to now it's going to be a 4-man line. It's going to be 4-3, which we haven't blocked a whole lot. So that'll be the real challenge for the guys in terms of being able to block an even defense instead of an odd defense this week, which changes the rules, changes the mic points, changes, pass protections and all that type of stuff. So hopefully they'll be able to adapt because we'll probably see more of this type of defense than what we saw last week.
Best seat in the house tonight, belongs to Robbie and Diana Harris from Childersburg, to Steve and Ben Humphreys from Jasper. I understand Ben's got the first question. Go for it, Ben.
Coach Saban, on the no-huddle format there, we ran the no-huddle a couple of times against West Virginia and seemed to do pretty well with it. What was your assessment of our no-huddle game, and how do you think that having the no-huddle in our arsenal of weapons to use will help us down the road?
Right. Well, I do think the no-huddle helped us in the game, but I think, our purpose of using no-huddle in the game was to make it easy for the quarterback. The signals are shorter. We one-word the formations. So it puts a lot more of the burden on the other players, just like what I explained to you about the defensive calls. When you go no-huddle, you might say 8 is a formation. Well, in the huddle, you might say that's, flank right flip, 3 words to just say this is 8. And, then we just call, blunt. That's it. We might call 43 a blunt spot in the huddle. So, it's a lot more terminology. Well, that's what Blake was struggling with a little bit in the game, in the huddle, getting the play called right, getting the formation called right, and all that kind of stuff. So I just told Lane, I said, hey, just let him go no huddle, man. It's easy. You can manage the game from here. You can even tell him when to Omaha in the game and when to change the play from one side to the other, which he did. And, then Blake settled down, and then we were able to do it either way. So I think it depends on the guy, and, it certainly helped Blake in the game. And I don't mind going no huddle at all. I'm all for it. I know the difficulties in defending it and what it creates for you on defense. So, we'll probably continue to do it to some degree, throughout the course of the year.
Even with the no huddle, you did offensively what you said last Monday you wanted to, and that was control the tempo, the pace of the ball game, weren't you?
Well, and I think that was the one thing that we made a point of, which Tom acknowledged, was that when you play against these fast-paced teams, the best thing you can do is keep the ball away from them. Mm-hmm. And I think the time of possession was like 37 or 38 for us and 23 or 22
Sounds
for them,
right,
something like that. I mean, it was really, really kind of off balance, and that's a good thing because they didn't have the ball as much. Now, we need to play a lot better on defense. We need to communicate a lot better. We have better players than what we played in the game. And they played a little better in the second half, and hopefully, Eddie Jackson will be back, and we're going to play him some probably in this game. We've practiced him all week. He seems like he's doing very, very well. And Trey DePriest coming back at linebacker will create a little stability there, but we need to play a lot better on defense.
We have more questions for Coach Saban. We'll get to that from fans here at Bob's Victory Grill, also on the phones at 877-202-BAMA. That's coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Hey, Tide fans, when you're getting ready for this week's game, stock up on Golden Flake. Pick up your favorite bag of Golden Flake potato chips, Tostados, or cheese puffs, and you'll be ready to tailgate like a true Tide fan. Golden Flake, the favorite chip of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The best choice you can make is a big bag of Golden Flake.
Looking for the ultimate tire for your performance luxury touring vehicle? Look no further than the new Ventus S1 Noble 2 from Hankook Tire. Packed with the latest design and compounding elements focused on maximizing efficient water evacuation, providing impressive wet handling and braking, increasing cornering grip, and improving winter condition traction. The Ventus S1 Noble 2 is the ideal balance of all-season and ultra-high performance. To see more of the Ventus S1 Noble 2, visit Tires for Less Incorporated in Coleman. Be one with it. Hankook Tires.
That splashing you hear? That's Cletus. He makes a living towing steamboats up and down the Mississippi. Not with a boat, but with his brawn. Smith & Forge Hard Cider is a lot like Cletus here. Strong, sturdy, but not too sweet. Cletus, put down that lighthouse.
Built from apples, built to refresh. Smith & Forge Hard Cider, made strong.
Now available in draft, so saddle up to your favorite tavern and enjoy a tankard. Uncharted Cider Company, Memphis, Tennessee. Please enjoy our ciders responsibly.
Insurance is simply being prepared.
Security.
To cover the what-ifs. I'm there to help protect my families.
You want to protect everything you've worked for.
The people that I deal with
purchase insurance because they love somebody.
I think of insurance as being a promise.
That I'm going to be there when you need me.
I'm giving them a promise that if they have a loss, I'm going to be there.
That's the Alpha way. That's what we do.
For the best agents in the business, call Alpha.
Sims has Yeldon behind him with Cooper wide to the left side. To the right side, DeAndrew White with the lead block. Fowler, big hole, right side. Yeldon down the right sideline, dives in. He is in for the touchdown.
Eli Gold with the call of one of the touchdowns. Bama scored in the victory over West Virginia. Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. By the way, if you were at the Georgia Dome, you could hear that one on our live sports radios. They're back for the 2014 season with a sleek new crimson design. You can hear all the live action at home and away on live sports radio. The units are on sale prior to Saturday's game outside Bryant-Denny Stadium. And I'm pretty sure we'll also have folks there to reprogram your radios. Chris Lowe is here with us from ESPN.com. You and I talking during the break. The running attack for the Crimson Tide. You had T.J. Yeldon, Derrick Henry, both over 100 yards in the game. It's a salty group there, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I had a chance to talk to T.J. today, and the thing to me that sort of set Alabama apart when it comes to running the football is you've got all these guys that push each other. The competition. Yeah. There's nothing better than competition. When you got a guy who's behind you or pushing you or nipping at your heels. And I know Coach will tell you this, when you have that type of competition on the practice field all spring, I mean, that's the best setup you can have.
And you want to ask the coach about another competition, right?
Well, I think everybody wants to know, and you said, Nick, that it's still a quarterback competition. My question to you is, when you go into a game and you said you sort of like to play Coker, do you sort of go by feel when to get him in there as the game goes on? Do you have an idea going in, or how does that work?
Well, the way I like to do it basically is decide before we ever go out there. Mm-hmm. This is how we're going to do it. Because, the most insecure people in the world are assistant coaches. I hate to talk about them like that. I love them. I was that way when I was an assistant. You always wanted to try to please the head coach and all that kind of stuff. But, you get in a game and you say, all right, well, we're going to put him in sometime. Well, they never want to put him in. And to me, I just have confidence in players. The guy practiced, he's ready to play. We feel like he can play winning football. So, we just say we're going to put him in the game. So now I haven't decided when that's going to be, in this game. But I'd rather decide that this is how we're going to do it before we ever go out there, because that's really the only way you give a guy a fair opportunity. He knows when he's going to go out there, and he can be ready to go out there, and we kind of go from there.
How many times in your career have you seen, whether it's quarterback or whatever the position, you've seen a guy in practice leading up, and maybe he hasn't played or the consistency hasn't been what you want it to be, and then when you get him in game action, game situations, it changes a little bit?
Well, that happened here with A.J. and Phillip Sims.
In 11?
Yeah. When we played both those guys in a Kent State game, up until that time, Phillip Sims was like neck and neck and hard to figure out who was the best guy. And, really sometimes in practice, Phillip looked like he would be the best guy. And, then we played them both in the game. And, A.J. played better in the game. So that is what ultimately made our decision to make A.J. the starter. When I was at LSU, we had Marcus Randall and Jamarcus Russell. And we played both guys all year long. Because, one guy played better against a certain type of team and the other guy played better against a different type of team. If they're going to put a lot of pressure, a lot of multiples, the young guy, which was Jamarcus at the time, didn't play very well. He struggled with all that. But if they were pretty plain vanilla, he played pretty well, so we'd play him some. So, I don't know where this is going to lead, us two. I think the reason that we're trying to play these guys is to find out. And, we know what Blake can do, and we were happy with what he did. But we also feel that Jake deserves an opportunity. But the thing that people have to understand about Jake is, he's still developing, in our system. He's not 100% as comfortable with terminology and everything that we're doing. The guy's only been practicing since August the 1st. So it makes a huge difference in the guy's confidence and comfort zone in terms of the repetitions that he's had and how he feels about what he's doing and how he can play fast and play in a rhythm. So That's going to be the key for him.
We got a bunch of great Bama fans here tonight at Bob's Victory Grill, and one of them, Ben Humphreys, has already claimed our gift certificate from University Mall. You can beat the game day traffic and take the Tide ride from University Mall to Bryant-Denny. We have another person who wants to ask a question. Tell us who you are, where you're from, ma'am.
I'm Jan Johnson. I'm from Opp, Alabama. And, Coach, I'd just like to change the line of questioning and ask you something a little more personal and not so technical. I'm sure that as season starts that your family life changes drastically. What are some things that you and your family can do during the season besides football?
Things that we can do?
Or is that on hold until season comes to an end?
Wow.
Got him stumped.
Well, you know, when you get home at 10 o'clock at night, there's, you know, what Terry and I try to do for 1 hour is we try to find something that we can watch together, okay, like a series or something like that, even if she has to tape it or whatever. So we kind of go through that. So that's kind of an hour of relaxation. We always get up early in the morning, so we got from about 6:15 to 6:35 to watch the Weather Channel and, you know, talk about what happened the day before, let the dogs out. But really, once you get past that, there's not much time left, you know. I mean, I get home last night 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'll get home tonight after this at, you know, 8:15 or 8:30, and Wednesday night and Thursday night are make recruiting call nights. So, you know, there's really not much time. But you know, I really do think it's important, and I talk to the players about this, especially our young players, is you really have to go through a season as a player. And I think Mike Smith talked about this on his little HBO in training camp deal or whatever, about how it's so important to have a routine, a routine in the season. And, you know, you can almost take what I do on Sunday at 4 o'clock. Every week that we have a game I'm doing the same thing at that time. Monday at 4 o'clock, Tuesday. I mean, when I'm going to watch third down, this when I'm going to watch red area, this when I'm going to meet with the offense, when I'm going to watch the offense. So I have a routine. So you really can't get the work done if you don't establish a routine. It's the same thing for a player. You know, these guys don't go to bed at night. They don't hydrate right. They don't eat right. They don't get rest. They can't go to school and do what they have to do to sustain the season and improve in practice unless they develop a routine. And I think the older players on the team handle it so much better because they do, and the younger players have a hard time figuring it out. And it's why they struggle to sustain their level of performance through the year. You know, they can't practice. They can't focus in practice. They can't stay awake in the meeting. Can't focus in the meeting. I mean, so if you can't establish a routine, for me or for them, it's very difficult to do the things you need to do to improve and be successful. So not much, to answer your question.
Jan, come up and claim one of these prizes. Thanks for the question. Let's go to the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline to Boaz, Alabama, where Kevin's on the line. Roll Tide, Kevin. How you doing?
Roll Tide, Tom. How y'all doing?
Good, Roll Kevin. Tide. How are you?
Roll Tide, Coach. Coach, I got two simple questions. First is how did the Ice Bucket Challenge feel?
How did what?
How did the Ice Bucket Challenge feel?
The Ice Bucket Challenge when you got soaked that day?
Oh, yeah, it was great. You know, it really was. And, you know, the only problem with that is I had a cold for a week because the lady just asked, what do you do besides football? Well, as soon as we got dumped on, I had a press conference. All right, then I had Dr. Rosen here that I had to have a meeting with about players. And then I had the staff waiting for me to watch the film. So I sat in my wet britches and my wet shirt and all that until about 9:45 that night. So it wasn't good.
Coach, my second question is concerning on the defensive side of the ball, as far as in the secondary, Landon Collins and Nick Perry. How are they adjusting as far as in the new system here under, you know, I know you coach the defensive backs, but the way the no huddle and the the hurry-up offense is nowadays. How are they adjusting? And I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Well, I think that Landon Collins really played well in the game. I think, Landon has got to, and I talked to him about this week, just continue to, Landon's a quiet guy who knows what to do, and he wants to go do it, and he does it fast, and he's very aggressive, and he's team-oriented and all that. But he's not a great communicator, and it's really, really important, especially when you're playing no huddle, that the safeties communicate, first of all to each other, and then to the corner on their side. All right? And if you watch it when we play these no-huddle teams, the corner away from our bench will make 5 mental errors in a game not knowing what the defense is because the safety didn't tell him, because he can't see Kirby on the sidelines. He can't see our sidelines for all the people standing in, so he doesn't get the signal. And if the safety doesn't communicate it with them, and when you play with good players, you start assuming that everybody knows what to do. So some of our guys that have experience are used to playing with guys that are really good players who have experience. And when you have that, communication becomes less important. But when you have new guys playing, communication becomes really, really, really important. And we did not communicate well in the game, which caused some problems in terms of some of the mental errors that we had on defense between the front, the secondary, how we adjusted the formations. And both of our safeties have to do a better job of sort of taking the bull by the horns and communicating, especially when we get all these fastball plays, I call them, and a lot of the motion adjustments that happen in hurry up, that you have to be really quick on the trigger to know exactly how you're going to adjust.
If you're sitting at home, want to ask the coach a question, 877-202-BAMA is our phone number. Kevin mentioned Nick Perry, and I don't know whether you've even seen it or not, Coach, but Nick, a graduate and a student in the graduate school at the University of Alabama, doing a little advertising for the grad school.
Well, that's great. I mean, Nick's a fine young man, very bright guy, and I think he's 5 years now he's been in the program. He's been hurt 1 year, got hurt last year, would have played some last year. So we're happy that he's getting an opportunity because he's really worked hard for a long time, and he is a good person.
All right, more questions for the coach. We're at the half hour. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. It pays to be a Crimson Tide fan with Best Western of Alabama. Whether you're traveling for work or play, get up to 20% off rates and a chance to win a $100 travel card this fall. Visit bestwesternalabama.com/rolltide. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Before you get in, get going, get gone, you need to get a tire that gets you. We suggest a Cooper tire. After all, Cooper engineers its tires not just for performance, but real-life performance. Because life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Buy 4 qualifying Cooper tires and get up to a $70 prepaid card by mail. Visit a participating Cooper tire retailer or CooperTireRebates.com for reward forms and official terms and conditions.
Nothing means it's game day like ice cold Coke Zero, because zero means it's game day.
What about when?
No.
But you don't even know what I was going to say.
Were you going to say zero means it's game day, so therefore nothing means it's game day like Coke Zero?
No, but...
Then it doesn't matter, does it? The refreshing taste of Coke Zero. Zero means it's game day.
Hey, this is Coach Nick Saban. Like you, Coke Zero is a proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide. So when you're enjoying the game this season, feel free to crack open a Coke Zero and enjoy that too. Roll Tide.
Once in a while, a player comes along and completely changes the game.
Unbelievable catch!
It's no different when it comes to a car. A car that doesn't just change the game, but dominates it. The unrivaled Toyota Camry.
Now get 0% APR for 60 months on a new 2014.5 Toyota Camry.
Toyota, let's go places.
Offer valid September 3rd through September 30th, 2014. Zero down with approved credit. Monthly payment for every 1,000 finance is $16.67. Includes tax, tag, registration, title, and dealer fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
The Learfield Sports Directors Cup honors the nation's best overall collegiate athletic program in each division, men's and women's sports. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics, noting the remarkable efforts of student athletes and their institutions. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook. Find us in USA Today, online, and on Twitter at LS Directors Cup. Over 2 decades of excellence. The Learfield Sports Directors Cup.
Play action fake. Sims looks, throws underneath near side, catch DeAndrew. He's going to have to hustle to get to the first down. He goes laterally. He's got it. He's loose. 25, 20, left side 15. Forced out of bounds at the 6 by Drayvon Henry. What a single-handed effort by DeAndrew White.
It was a huge play in the ball game. Eli Gold with the call on that one. Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. And unfortunately, DeAndrew suffering a shoulder injury late in the game, and he'll be out for this week for sure. We're talking all about the Crimson Tide. Chris Lowe from ESPN.com is our guest from the media this evening. And you and I chatting during the break, the good old days of defenses pitching shutouts and giving up 115, 120 yards a game. Those are days that are gone, aren't they?
Well, the game's changed. I was in Columbia, South Carolina, Thursday for the A&M South Carolina game. The Aggies ran 99 offensive plays. It almost looks, you know, as I watch the game now, and I watched a bunch of them on Saturday, it almost looks like hockey, how fast the game is. You know, they're pitching it wide, pitching it left, and Coach certainly can speak to this better than I can. It's changed dramatically over the last 2 or 3 years, just how fast the game is, how many plays are being run. And if you're going to play that way, you're going to defend it, you got to practice that way, don't you, Coach?
Well, and that's the most difficult thing about it. If you're not a speedball team and your team doesn't do that, it is impossible to get a scout team to play fast in practice. All right, because they got to look at a card before they know how to run the play. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. Well, you can't show them a card and show them who to block and what pass pattern to run and all that, and do it at the speed and the pace that the other team does. So, you know, we kind of go red ball ourselves, and we have a red ball period every day in practice where we just go against each other, you know, where I'm talking about fast. All right, speed ball is fast, red ball is just no huddle like we went in the last game. We weren't trying to go fast, we were just not huddling, you know, and made it easier for the quarterback. So it makes it difficult to practice and have the players prepared for the pace of play, the speed of the game, and how many plays they have to play in the game. And because they're playing at a faster pace than what they're used to, it's a whole different conditioning aspect for them as well.
Just going back to say the 2009 season, Nick, how much has the game changed just from now until 2009, would you say, in these terms?
As much as it ever has. I mean, to me, as a coach, I've been coaching for 42 years. This is as much as I've ever seen the game change over the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, because it's a huge advantage. It's a huge advantage to play offense that way. Now, you know, the downside of it to me is, you know, how do you coach players in practice when you're going so fast you can't coach them between plays? How do you make corrections? All right, so I'm not saying that it always enhances the quality of play and how you develop players, but when you actually have to play against it in the game, it's very, very difficult when you don't do it yourself all the time.
Well, you were talking about conditioning Blake in Huntsville with our next question, the Nick Saban Show blog at AL.com. He talks about that you sub in and out linemen and linebackers to keep their legs fresh. He wants to know, do you do that with defensive backs as well?
Well, yeah, but, you know, when you put guys in the secondary who you have to be totally trust in the guys you're putting in back there.
Yeah.
All right, that those guys can actually are ready to play, that know what to do, that you think can go in there and play winning football and can adapt to the pace of play as you play. You know, one thing about defensive backs is, you know, you study how to cover a guy. You know, the guy that you're going to get matched up against that comes out on your side or whatever it is. You know, just like there was a time in a game when we just, you know, number 11 was killing us, so we just said, hey, 5, Cyrus, you go cover whatever side Levin's on when he's in there. And the last pass breakup on third down, he was not playing his corner. He was playing the other corner. So, but now you can put a new guy in the game, and he doesn't have a feel for that guy. You know, it's almost like changing pitchers in baseball. You know, it's all new for the batter. Well, when you're the defensive guy and you're trying to cover this guy man-to-man, it's all new for you when you sub those guys in. But I do think that's a good idea. I think sometimes if you have enough depth on your team, you know, you could roll guys in and be confident and do it. But when you got to play nickel and dime against these kind of teams, you already got 6 defensive backs out there or 5. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's different, tough.
Right. We've got a fan standing right here by us who wants to ask a question. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
My name's Jake. I'm from Oxford, Alabama.
Jake?
Hi, Jake. How are you?
I'm good. With such depth at the running back position, would you ever consider trying the wishbone to throw defenses off?
Well, you know, it would be easy for me to say, yeah, I'd consider it. But will everybody else consider how difficult it is to coach the wishbone when it's nothing like what we do on offense? It'd be all new for the offensive line. It would be completely all new for the backs, right, in terms of what we do. The quarterback, Blake could probably do it, you know, because he was an option guy in high school. So you're talking about something that is so sort of different that we would have to spend a significant amount of time to be able to do it, and we would almost have to totally commit to doing that. And I think people kind of caught up with the wishbone. I think what's more prevalent in college football now is you see people getting an inverted bone. You know, Auburn does it with sometimes 2 tight ends. West Virginia did it last week. This team will do it in the game, and then they'll have a tailback or an offset back. And then they run plays where both those guys go in a direction and the line goes in the opposite direction. You know, that's sort of kind of wishbone-like, except it's not really totally option football. So I think you're going to see some 3-back stuff come back into the game. And we could do that, but we've done that before. But the run wishbone option offense, based on what we do, would be so foreign to our players, we would have to make a total commitment to it and be completely different than what we've ever done.
If you did, you'd have a fullback in Jalston Fowler that could do everything a wishbone fullback did. And I love the fact that this past week you named all those offensive players of the week. Jalston was one of them. He didn't have a carry in the ball game.
No, but he did a great job of blocking and leadership, special teams, you know, as an all-around player based on how he did his job, what he was asked to do, what his role was in the game. He did it as well as anybody. And
he was so happy to be back out there, I can guarantee you that. Let's go to the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline to Cottondale, where Red is on the line. Red, roll tide.
Hey, roll tide, and good evening, Coach. Hope you're doing well.
Hi, Red. How are you?
Doing great, buddy. First of all, Coach, I want to congratulate you, the players, and the coaches for bringing us a win to start the season off with.
Thank you.
And the previous caller, he kind of stole my thunder. I was looking at it. I grew up old school with wishbone, and I've seen this hurry-up offense everybody's doing now, that if we could come out with a no-huddle wishbone offense, with the backs we've got, I think would be very effective, but you just gave an explanation to that. So I'm going to go to another thing real quick is, can we see more blitz happening this year on the defense?
We see what?
More blitzing on the defense.
Blitzing. Oh, more blitzing on defense? You know, we try to pressure. It's harder to pressure when teams go no huddle, and we play against quite a bit of that. And, you know, all these spread out teams now, I mean, I think look, I'm looking forward to the day when I can be a fan. Okay, when I can go to the tailgate, which I've never been to a tailgate in my life. All right, so I want to go to a tailgate, and then I want to take the team that just won 72 games in the last 6 years and turn them into a wishbone no-huddle team, just for the hell of it. Just for the hell of it. I mean, not really for any particular reason, but just for the hell of it. Now, not that we ever recruited any players that could run it, no. All right, or like try to get a quarterback that can do what we want him to do. Now we want a wishbone quarterback. So, and same thing with blitzing on defense. As soon as you show blitz on defense, all these spread out teams, they throw these jailbreak screens. You probably don't know what jailbreak and Z-tunnel screens are, but as soon as you play single man-to-man, the receivers go block the other guys. We did it last week. Amari Cooper ran for 24 yards on the first play of the game. Yeah. They're 2-on-2 out there. D. White blocks one guy. He runs by the other guy, and they gain 24 yards. So, sometimes you got to watch what you wish for. Because you go pressure and run everybody at the quarterback, and he throws a jailbreak screen. You got two guys to cover two guys. One guy blocks the other guy, and they're out the gate, and they make big plays. So there's nobody that likes to pressure the quarterback and affect the quarterback more than I do. All right? And we really, really try to have new pressures, good pressures, way that we can affect the quarterback. But if you watch in a lot of these spread offenses, just like last week, the number of balls that get thrown down the field versus the number of balls that come out of the quarterback's hand before you could ever get there if no one was blocking. Yeah. The ball comes out that fast. So why would you compromise yourself by blitzing when the ball's going to come out before you can get home anyway? So all you've done is put a guy in coverage, single coverage, and if he gets beat, it's a big play. So all these things have to be calculated based on the offense that you play. All right, and what they like to do when you show blitz. All right, and what we used to do when we used to blitz more when we didn't have to play against no huddle all the time is we would show a blitz, kill out of it because the offense is checking, or we'd show zone that check to something and then we'd blitz. We can't do that when we're playing against no huddle because they're just going so fast. You don't have time to do any of that. So, when you do it, you kind of hit and miss as to whether you're going to hit something right or not. So we probably have been a little more conservative than I would like to be. And hopefully there'll be a time when we get back to pressuring the quarterback quite a bit more.
What I want to know, Nick, do we see you go to a tailgate first or get on Instagram and Snapchat first? Which one? Which one happens first?
I'm not ever doing that.
He's speaking a foreign language.
I'm not ever getting on the internet. I'm never having a Twitter. And I'll never do any of that stuff that you do, honestly. If you want to talk to me, call me.
All right, we're going to take one final break with more questions for the coach coming up in just a moment or so. Our friends at LG want to remind you can do game day right with the latest innovations from LG. From the kitchen to the living room, LG has you covered. Come check out the latest in LG innovations at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG. It's all possible with LG. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again. But just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
Who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really, really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Okay, kids, who remembers where we're all going to meet in case of an emergency?
Grand Central Station.
Times Square.
Higher ground.
Where's that?
The mountain, son.
But we live in the city.
Good point.
What about supplies?
Your mom has all those canned beets somewhere in the apartment.
What about water?
We have a few gallons stored in the basement.
We don't have a basement.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent, 1 in 260,000. The odds of him having 15 career NASCAR victories, 1 in 1.7 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism, 1 in 68. I'm Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. It's kind of like an elephant is on my chest. I feel like I'm choking. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor. because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Behind the quarterback, gets the handoff. He'll come to the left side, finds a hole. Henry to the 5. Henry's going to go. Is he in? Touchdown, Alabama. 19 yards. And a beautiful block by the tight end, Brian Vogler, and Jalston Fowler.
The man we were just talking about, Jalston Fowler, with one of his big blocks in the game, freeing up Derrick Henry for a touchdown. Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill in Midtown Village. We got some more questions from fans here. If you're in the crowd and want to ask the coach a question, Jessica Weiger's standing right over here by the bar, and be glad to take that question. Chris Lowe from ESPN.com is here. You and I were just chatting about Derrick Henry. You wouldn't want to get in his way, would you?
No, and I've heard Nick say this before. When he starts evaluating running backs, one of the first things he does is talk to the defensive guys and looks at it from a defensive perspective of whether you want to tackle that guy or not. And Henry's not one of those guys you want to tackle or get in front of, is he, Nick?
Well, there's not very many guys on our team that want to tackle him. I'll tell you, when we have, days where we're thudding, we say thud. When he runs the ball, they all kind of try to tag him,
Get the flags out.
Yeah. We have a lady here at Bob's Victory Grill who wants to ask a question. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Jill Davis from Madison, Alabama.
Hey, Jill, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
With the ebb and flow of last week's game, how important was the 3-and-out stop that the defense made after the interception near midfield?
Well, I think that we kind of picked that as the turning point in the game, actually, because we were only ahead by 7 points at the time. It's the only turnover we had on offense. And, they got the ball in good field position right at the 50-yard line. And to go 3-and-out in a situation like that, and then we got the ball back and drove it. So that was huge. But the defense actually, the last 3 series, stopped them 3 series in a row. That was first of the 3, which was very, very important because they could have got back in the game again, with any score. So, the defensive players seemed to be able to make plays when they needed to in the game. We had 2 inside the 10-yard line stops and at the end of the game. But just the consistency in performance, you're always trying to get players to develop the process and habits that they need to be able to play well. And the most difficult thing that I try to do as a coach, or can't get done as a coach sometimes, and get frustrated trying to do as a coach, is get players to buy in that it's your habits, it's what you do every day, all right, that's going to help you have consistency in performance. And it's not about the scoreboard, it's not about who you're playing, it's not about how warm it is outside. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about your habits, what you do every day, all right, is what's going to help you be successful on a consistent basis. All right, but if they're playing a good team, they want to get all fired up and emotional and inspired to go do all these great things. But then if you're not, they don't want to practice the way you want them to practice so they can get better. So I can never understand really quite why that when you run a 40-yard dash, you only run as fast as you can to beat the guy next to you. So that means everything that you do is determined by how fast he is, not how fast you can be, not how good you can be. So your self-imposed limitation is standing right next to you. All right, that's all the faster you're going to run, just fast enough to beat him. Well, you're never going to be as good as you can be if you think that way. You're never going to be all you can be if you think that way. And you're never going to have any consistency in performance if you think that way. So that's, some people call it maturity. I don't know, but we're trying to get ours to do it.
I got to ask you about Adam Griffith, National Player of the Week, the Lou Groza Award, one of 3 of them. Specialist of the Week in the SEC. He had a terrific game, didn't he?
Did a great job in the game, but we've always known Griff is very capable, and I think now he's confident, feels good, and felt good going into the game, and had a really good fall camp. It was a long time before he ever missed a field goal in fall camp, so he's been pretty consistent. I think he's real confident with his holder. Cooper Bateman does a nice job for him, so and he had 3 touchbacks. So The only thing he's not as good at is Cade was great on kickoff coverage. Cade was like having an extra guy out there. He was a linebacker, man. Like, you know, when that ball broke out the other day, he'd have been right there.
Right there, yeah. All right, J.K. Scott, only punted twice, but that first one is something over better than 60 yards. It looked like it was shot out of a cannon.
Well, you know, he's capable of that. I mean, that's pretty normal, actually, for him. I mean, he really has a great leg, and when he drops it right and doesn't try to hit it hard and just hits it smooth, he's really, really good. Maybe as good a young guy as I've ever been around.
Wow.
So it'll be interesting to just see how he continues to develop and, you know, how he can keep his head straight and be consistent in what he does.
Chris Lowe, you get the final question for the coach.
You know, Nick, we were talking about the game changing so much earlier. How much has that changed the way you guys recruit? What are you looking from a defensive perspective now when you're out evaluating kids and trying to bring in the right guys? What are you looking for more than ever? Are you looking for hybrid guys that can stay on the field the whole time? Because it's hard to substitute. I just wonder now as you guys recruit, what is a priority?
Well, we have tried to recruit more athletic defensive linemen. And, you know, in the 3-4 that we play, you know, typically you have a pretty big nose guard, two pretty big 5 technique guys. All right, then your outside backers are supposed to be your defensive end in nickel situations, and they're supposed to be the athletic guys. All right, but that's not enough. In this style of football that we have to play, you know, we need guys like, you know, Jonathan Allen's very athletic. You know, Petway's very athletic guy. Tomlinson's a very athletic guy. You know, we have Xavier Dixon and Denzel Duvall who can play on the edge. You know, Tim Williams is going to come back. He can play and do those kind of things. You know, Rashawn Evans is a freshman who can do those kinds of things. So we actually have more guys now that can do those kinds of things where, you know, we build our team to beat LSU and power football teams like Georgia, right. And we didn't have guys. So when we played Texas A&M, you know, we still had too many big, slow guys out there that were good players in a certain type of game, but they weren't good. I think a great example of it that our fans can understand is Cody was a great player for us. But when we played Utah, we couldn't play him in a game. Yeah. Well, that's what we play against all the time now. All right, so we need a guy or two like that so when we do play the LSUs of the world who can really, you know, pound you on the line of scrimmage, you can hold up. But we need a lot of those other kind of guys, and that's changing in recruiting. And I think linebacker is the same way. You have to have more athletic linebackers who can play in space. All right, now, because you can't match personnel all the time. You know, sometimes you just got to play a nickel linebacker, and you wish you could put 6 defensive backs in, but you can't get them in the game. And if you get them in the game, you can't get them out.
Chris Lowe, thanks for being here tonight and being our media guest.
You bet.
Coach, you got the final word presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Well, you know, first of all, I'd like to thank Chris Lowe because, you know, this guy does a really, really good job. And, you know, I don't know if you noticed, but I have all my favorite people on first, you know. Not that that means that there's not somebody down the road that won't be a favorite too. All right, but I really enjoy the media when the people have professionalism in terms of what they do. And you can really trust them. And I have a tremendous amount of appreciation for that, and I do trust this guy, so I really appreciate him being here with us tonight.
Good to be here.
Good.
All right, now the final word.
Well, you know, I really do think that this being our home opener for our players, you know, our players have worked hard this week. We're a work in progress. We're trying to improve our team. That's the focus, trying to get the team to have the right mindset in terms of doing things on a consistent basis so that they can get better and we can be the kind of team that we want to be and the kind of team that you want us to be. But, you know, they need your support. And it was great in Atlanta. We had great fans. They were great. It was a great atmosphere for us to play in. I love that venue over there, but I love Bryant-Denny Stadium too. And regardless of, you know, if we're challenging the players in terms of, you know, it doesn't matter who we're playing, and I have total respect for the team that we're playing, and they certainly have enough good players to beat us. But it's not really about that. It's about us. It's about our program. It's people's expectation for how we play, our identity, not only as a team, but as an institution and a place that's where you play football that everybody would love to play in. And I think that's something that our fans are a big part of our team because that's what they contribute to our team. And hopefully in the home opener, 11 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night. It really doesn't matter. You know, that's not something we can control, so let's go for it and have a great home opener.
That sounds great, Coach. Thanks, and roll Tide.
Thank you.
We'll come back, wrap things up in a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
I'm John, a volunteer at United Way. I'm here at Lincoln Elementary School to find out what this place needs. Who knows better about what kids need than kids, right? Let's ask them.
Monsters! Lasers! A pool! Another guinea pig! More lasers! Sprinkles!
I was thinking more spinach at lunchtime and maybe more exercise.
Nah. Lasers are cool.
When it comes to creating healthier communities, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to UnitedWay.org, because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
My name is Dale Pazinski, and this is how I live united. I volunteer with United Way, helping the homeless in my community by teaching computer skills and helping them build a basic resume to save on their very own USB drive. It's huge when somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
So, who's going to do what? Flashlights?
Nowhere to be found.
Emergency supply kits?
Not packed.
What about blankets?
We have an old towel.
Cell phones?
May not work.
Emergency water?
Not a drop.
Perfect. We all know where we're meeting if we're separated.
The library. On Jones' house. The bus stop.
And I'll be waiting here wondering where you all are. Great. It sounds like we don't have a plan.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Do game day right. With LG, it's all possible. LG home appliances are right in step with your busy world. The largest capacity washer in its class saves you up to 20 minutes per load, even on larger loads. LG's door-and-door refrigerators offer instant access to gotta-have snacks. And with LG Easy Clean, you've got a sparkling oven in minutes. Come check out the latest in LG innovations at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG.
Excuse me, sir. What's the best day of your life?
My wedding day.
Where would you rank going to the November 29th Alabama-Auburn game?
Whoa, are you serious?
Yeah, you and a guest would get 2 game tickets, VIP hospitality, pre-game sideline passes, and more, courtesy of your local Ford dealer.
Best day ever!
Just go to alabamasaturdays.com and enter the Rammer Jammer fan experience.
Oh, I hope my wife wasn't listening.
Must be 18 years or older with a valid Alabama driver's license to enter. For details and complete rules, visit alabamasaturdays.com.
As we leave you on this Thursday evening, quick reminder, tickets are available for Saturday's home opener against Florida Atlantic. Just go to rolltide.com. Our thanks to Jerry and Jan in the studio, Neil and all the staff here at Bob's Victory Grill, Tom Stipe, our engineer-producer. Most of all, we thank all of you for joining us tonight. And until Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, Roll Tide, everybody.
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this has been Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Also brought to you by Coke Zero. Real Coke taste, 0 calories. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. And by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. The preceding has been a presentation of the Crimson Tide Sports Network, a property of Learfield Sports.